Parked along 151st Street. We've got some temporary lights out there, but pardon our dust as we finish up some of the construction. I want to introduce Kevin Graham with Planning Resources, and again, thank you for coming.
Thanks, Mike. What we're going to do tonight, thank you all for coming and showing your interest. Again, my name is Kevin Graham with Planning Resources. What I'm going to do is just kind of walk through a very quick, try to make a very quick little presentation. Many of you have been walking around kind of looking at the boards before we kind of explain them. But what I'm going to do is just kind of walk through a very brief presentation that kind of hits on them, kind of explain what we're doing. And then we're going to kind of open this up. You're free to come and go as you want. There's not a set time. We're going to have members of our team kind of spread out through and can answer questions. You can take more comments we'll take more comments from you. Let me get that's where I can advance the slides here. And I'm going to apologize, so make sure I can see which slide we're on here. But so what we've been doing so far is doing our detailed analysis of the site, doing our public input. This is kind of the part of that aspect. Just to orient everyone, we're sitting here in the Village Hall. We're going to doing the planning for the Woodbine Golf Course, a former Woodbine Golf Course, now Heritage Park. Our planning philosophy really focuses on looking at the resources, being very responsible to the community's core values, what this community was formed on, and then respect to the neighbors, adjacent landowners. We think it's very important in our planning process. The reason I'm showing this, this is going to be foreign to, I know, everybody, but everyone's heard, a lot of people have heard of the LEED rating system for green buildings. Well, we think it's important, and kind of what we're following here as we're doing our design and recommendations is what's called sites. So it's that same kind of rating system for sustainability and planning for the outdoor environment. And so that kind of sets the context of what we're doing in our planning process. So over the past about a month and a half, we've been doing a series of public involvement, public input meetings. We've met with some key stakeholders, the neighbors, some of the seniors, some of the sports affiliations, and township and festival people. So we've gotten a number of different input pieces. And we're going to talk about a couple other items that are going to be available. The last one that's up there you'll see is called My Sidewalk. My Sidewalk is an online public input piece. There's a flyer out on the table that hopefully every one of you will take with you, and I'll kind of explain how that'll work here in a minute as we kind of wrap this up. Through the public input process, we've heard a lot of kind of desires of what could this site be, what should it be to be Homer Glen. This is just kind of a listing of a lot of the features that were thrown out, that we're considering. And that's going to kind of set the stage for tonight. So from everything from keeping one of the putting greens for kind of a practice area, to nature centers, to community centers, to festival space, all of those type of things. So these were a lot of the things that we did hear from you. Our planning process really starts with understanding the site and planning with the resources that are out there today. Not trying to come in and create a all new landscape. And we can, when you're going around, we can talk more about this and what we see on the site. So when we do this and we look at the site, we're looking at what are some of the drainage corridors that are out there. Where's the water going today? Yes, it's a man-made golf course, but there's still natural drainage patterns that we want to respect. There are high points and vistas, there is vegetation, there are a number of things that we want to gather in knowledge. And so we've done a lot of inventory on the site, we've mapped all these areas, and that kind of formulates how we're going to go about planning the site. So when we heard a lot of the input pieces, so whether it be a number of these different active to passive, different kind of ideas, we took a first stab at it. Now this, and I want to preface this, so from essentially this board on, these are just kind of definition ideas right now. There's nothing set in stone. This is not intended to be here saying, here's the plan, because we're still gathering input and we're still hearing from you all. And that's what we're doing tonight. But what we need to do when we're looking at 103 acres and we have a list of 30 items that folks have rolled out and said, we'd like to have this on the site, or we'd like to have that, when we do our surveys. There's a number of different things that have a good relationship with each other, good synergy with each other, just the way the site lays out. So what we do, we start with this kind of bubble diagram that's up there, and we start looking at different relationships, how much area would that take, could it support that on this property. Some of these things may fall off of the plan. We may add new things based on what we hear tonight as we continue to go forward. But so that's to say, this is really kind of testing the scenarios. And then the next series of slides and boards, which I'll kind of zip through quickly, is really kind of defining what that is. So as this example, more of an amphitheater or stage area, we heard performance type features on the site. What could that be? So what I'm going to encourage you all to do tonight as you go through and you look at these different boards, and you look at these different things, what we want to hear from you is yeah, that's too much for Homer Glen, or wow, that would really be great here. So that's kind of, this is kind of that level of testing of what's the right mix, what's the right intensity for this piece of property. And I don't need to go real detail through these. We did look at, and I know one of the big questions here has been athletic fields. It's been, and we've heard about, it's been the festival space. How can we accommodate Homerfest here on the property? And we think there might be possibly some ways to do both in an area with some structured placement. Looking at different ways to incorporate fitness on the property, looking at different nature play and features out here. And I don't want to belabor and go through all this, because really the idea tonight is to have us at the boards and allow you to get up close to them, ask us questions, and give us your feedback. So I'm actually going to zip through some of these quickly. I mentioned very quickly the My Sidewalk. So what that is an online tool that you can log on to, and we have some sheets out here that'll tell you where and how to go do that. And it allows you to, you go home and 2 days from now you say, oh, I wish I would have thought of that, I wish I would have mentioned that. It's a way to provide that comment. As the project continues to go forward, we'll be posting more information up there. So it's an online dialogue for the project. So what I really want to do is we're going to have our staff kind of spread out between the boards and start answering your questions. And you can go back and forth. It's not an order. It's not go around this way. We have a lot of information on these boards, so you can just kind of mingle and mix around, and we'll answer any of your questions. Feel free to come and go as you will tonight.
Kevin, could you just give them an overall time frame for the balance of the process?
Yes. So we're kind of in the process. We're formulating the kind of the bubble, the concept idea elements right now. Kind of the next phase we'll be doing is taking this input, kind of refining this as to what that use pieces will be. Coming back to the village staff and officials, kind of getting that kind of go ahead. And then in each of these, we'll be kind of getting more detailed in the design and then putting together a report. We will be having, once we kind of complete that aspect of what those final recommended pieces are, there will be another public open house. And I don't have my schedule with me, I can't remember what date we said that was going to be. We'll have that posted for you. But the idea is to kind of be wrapping up and towards the end of October with this. So, and bringing that back to the board. So, yes, questions?
Is this a long-term plan, or is this something you're planning on doing within a certain amount of years or time frame, or does it all have to be done at once?
Oh, absolutely not. This is definitely a long-range master plan.
How long?
Well,
2 years, 5 years?
we haven't gotten, it's probably more than that. We haven't gotten that. That will be part of our report, is kind of laying out a phasing strategy for it. A lot of it's going to depend on funding sources, and as we, part of it will be developing cost estimates as we go through. That's something we'll be working out with the village. It's a long-range plan. I mean, this is building for the future. So, yes, question in the back?
Yes, we have a question. When you make these plans, is there at any time the residents can find out what it's going to cost, like mowing the lawn right now? We just hired a crew to mow the grass out there. Now you're going to start putting buildings or whatever you're going to put out there, baseball diamonds, fields, whatever, swimming pools. Do you have a cost associated with each one of these additions that you're suggesting we put out there, so we get an idea what we need financially, so that we don't get a little slap on the wrist when we get our taxes?
Absolutely. That's definitely a piece of the final product, and as we go forward, we'll be doing order of magnitude costs. If we want to do this type of feature, we need to, it'll account for this amount, but we're also looking at what does it impact, how does it impact the long-term maintenance? Because it's not just how much it is to build it, but what is it going to take to maintain it? So we are looking at that, and that'll be part of our report and strategies. So you're absolutely, that's one of the key components, I think, that's especially important to Homer Glen, because you're really going from roughly 30 acres to 130 acres. That's a big impact on a village with not a very large staff. And so how is that going to be maintained? And that's part of what we're doing in the report is trying to identify that method, that operations component. So that'll be part of it. Unless there's any other quick questions, yes, right here, Bill.
I didn't see any extra parking in any of your plans. I didn't see any extra parking in your plan.
There's in the park here, we'll kind of explain to it, but we do have parking built into it, yes. And again, we haven't done a detailed layout plan. So, we haven't done a detailed layout plan. I mean, these are kind of use areas. Obviously, parking has to be appropriately planned for that, and it will be. We have identified certain areas for that. No, we're not planning on building a big, massive parking lot, but it depends on the use, and that'll be part of it.
If I can add, the key takeaway that we want you to have this evening is There is no concrete plan made tonight. We will not develop a plan until we hear back from you. The conceptual bubble diagram, as Kevin mentioned, which is merely just taking some of the ideas that we've heard thus far from the key stakeholders, are just ideas and we've shown them in terms of their relationship to one another. The final plan will be developed with input from you tonight, as well as what we receive from my sidewalk and other social media mechanisms that we put in place. So no, you don't see parking, but we know that any recreation amenity that is planned will need some support facilities. Why? You can't have perimeter parking and expect someone to walk 103 acres to that support facility. We've been doing this a while, so we understand that. But you will not see specific parking lots tonight because we don't have specific items shown. They will be
just to bring you up to speed, other than the purchase of the property and the improvement to the building or the village hall, has there been any investment out there in the park at all? Walkways, waterways, or is it just maintenance of the grass?
Really, it's just maintenance.
It's pretty poor maintenance too. I back up to the fence, they haven't weed whacked since Park District took it over. Okay.
Well,
I talked to the guy that cuts the grass and he says, I don't have manpower to weed whack.
you can provide, well, we have heard that in some of our public input. What we're really here to do tonight is to look at the planning of the long-range planning. So, but we'll certainly convey that for you. So with that, yes, sir.
Is there any tentative date when the long-range planning will be finished? I mean, this is...
End of October.
End of October. This
year.
Okay.
That's what, yes. Our plan is to have the master plan, we talking with the board in October. So then things can start moving forward.
Part of the plan would be the construction of the areas in sections. So this would be the first part.
Yes.
But we'd have a schedule.
Yeah. So.
Could you explain the 319 grant?
So earlier this year, and helping with the village, there had been a study done by an engineering firm looking at drainage, water quality on the kind of eastern and northeastern corner of the property. So in July, we assisted the village in writing a Illinois Environmental Protection Agency 319 grant. What that is focuses on water quality. That's its primary focus. But in doing so, we put in an application for a grant to help rebuild some of the water elements along the water collection and then treatment storage areas along that side. And so that grant is in with the state for consideration.
So will that be done before you start building onto this property?
It depends on the state of Illinois EPA.
So we could end up with the water in our area before we even repair it?
No, any planning, we do have an engineer on our team, and any planning we would be doing has to be very respectful of drainage and maintaining any water, any uses on this property. We're not shipping water off the property, no.
We hope to hear something in January about the grant.
Yeah, the grants, their grant cycle for the 319 grant is after when we'll be done with this master plan. But regardless, those elements that are in the 319 grant, the things that were recommended in that plan, we're accommodating in this concept regardless of the grant. So all the benefits of that would be with or without the grant, would be the intent at this point.
As it sets, is the core sprinkler now, and does it use that water?
Say that again?
as it sets out there now, is that course sprinklered from the days of the golf course? And does it use the water on the property?
My understanding was the pond on the southeast was the irrigation pond that was pulling out of that. So
it is sprinklered daily, monthly, whatever?
I don't believe they're doing any of it now. So it's not being sprinkled at all now. So I'm going to take one more question. I really want you to get you around here to answer questions. You can ask us all anything. Yes, one more question.
Can you give us an idea of how big this piece of property is compared to like Delwood or downtown Frankfurt, places that we might be familiar with? Just kind of give us an idea. You know how big Delwood is?
Don't know on Delaware. What's a park that's we've got in here that's close?
You guys did some work in New Lenox.
Yeah, what's the new Linux ones? They're not that big. It would probably be, I mean, you mentioned Frankfurt. This is far bigger than downtown Frankfurt. So there's in perspective, you know, I would consider this similar to, I should see bigger than that. We'll get you some comparison. I don't want to throw one out because, you know, that's around here, because I don't want to, you're going to tell me I'm wrong on my this. That was let's move around. Let's answer the questions around here. We can sit here and let's let you focus on these.
Any questions you have, feel free to ask one or two of the PRI team. We'll get you next.
Okay, 1 second.